Barnaby Jones, starring Buddy Ebsen. Also starring Lee Merriweather, with guest stars Don Stroud, Donna Bacala, Lou Frizzell, special guest star Michael Burns. Tonight's episode, programmed for killing.
What a wonderful surprise.
Well, that's what birthdays are for. Surprises. Candlelight, fine food. Special time for a special lady.
I don't know when I've ever been so happy.
Compliments of the house, Miss Kelso. I gotta stay in there tight with your father, right? Up-and-coming salesman like me can't be too careful with the boss's daughter, right?
You don't have to be careful with me. I'm sold.
Fantastic. A satisfied customer. And now for a very special gift. Oh!
What?
I left it in the car.
Well, go and get it.
Don't go there.
Mm-mm.
Oh, can I help you, sir?
Listen, I just want to get something in my car. Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Kelso?
Chuck, where the devil you been? You were supposed to be here 20 minutes ago.
Yes, sir. That's why I'm calling. I've been held up.
Look, Summers, I don't want excuses. I want you down here now. You've got some tall explaining to do.
I don't understand, sir.
Oh, you don't? Well, I'll give you a choice. You can come down here now, or you can talk to the police, whichever you like.
Yes, sir. I'll be right there. Are you in the supervisor's office?
Yes. I'll wait for you here.
I'll be right there, sir.
birthday, huh?
May I open it?
Of course, that's what it's for.
Oh, Chuck. Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah?
I understand it happened on your birthday.
Yeah, I had gone out to dinner with a friend. If he hadn't been with me when I got the news, I don't know what I would have done.
You said your father had been very troubled lately.
Yes, and that wasn't like Mac. I mean, not even when we didn't have all of this.
Did he ever say what was bothering him?
Only that he had felt betrayed. That someone was knifing him in the back.
Did he have any enemies?
I've never known him to do an unkind thing in his life. He always said he was still just a day laborer at heart. My father was a very good man, Mr. Jones.
Sometimes even a good man has enemies he doesn't know anything about.
That's what has me worried.
Of course, the police report said it was an accident, malfunction of equipment.
Believe me, I sincerely hope it was. But if it wasn't, I must know.
You have every right to know.
We call it the monster.
I can well see why, Mr. Downey.
It can move 10 tons around, just like that.
Miss Kelso says that her father seemed troubled lately.
Oh, Mac was worried, all right. Look around you. Computer operated, efficient like clockwork.
Sounds complicated.
Not really. The computer does it all. Takes the orders, runs the machines, arranges shipping, accounting, even marks the bills paid. The only problem is the computer's been in operation 3 months and we're still losing money.
What's the problem?
It's always tough to figure with a new installation. Production schedules are right on the money. It'll come around, though. When it came to machines, Mac Kelso knew what he was doing.
Shame he didn't know his monster a little better.
I don't get you.
Oh, just an ugly thought, the idea of one of his machines killing him. Any idea how this could have happened?
Night watchman came running as soon as he heard the crash. The building was locked. Not a soul on the premises. By the time they had the fire put out, Mac was already dead.
Mr. Downey, if anybody had been in the factory, is there any way they could have activated the crane from the floor or bumped into a switch or something?
No, the only control we have down here is an emergency shutdown switch. You see, the monster only accepts orders from the computer. Matter of fact, the way it all happened just isn't possible.
Doesn't sound to me like that's a matter of fact. Mr. Kelso is dead. Nobody knows how or why. I'd like to see that computer if I could.
Sure, you can if you want to. But we've had 2 experts going over it ever since the accident. I doubt if you'll even understand what they're doing.
I'm kind of like the little boy at the peep show. Even though I don't understand it, I have to look.
I've been through these circuits 3 times. If there's a short here, I can't find it.
You could use a break. Why don't you get some coffee?
Yeah. Oh, you want some?
No, thank you.
Jones, this is Brian Elder. The Clarion computer people say that if he can't answer your questions, they can't be answered. Mr. Jones is a private investigator. He's looking into the accident for Miss Kelso. I'm afraid I have to get back to the line. If you need me, don't hesitate to call.
Thank you very much.
Oh, this is James Garcia.
How do you do, sir? Glad to meet you. Excuse me.
Well, where would you like to start, Mr. Jones?
Well, I'm sort of like the old maid asking about marriage. Questions are tougher to come by than the answers. This one box runs the whole plant.
No, not quite. That box is merely a terminal. The master computer is located in a very large building downtown. The commands put in here relate to that master computer. Then, by using information stored on Kelso program tapes, it responds by sending back the appropriate electronic signals to activate the system requested.
Like the crane out there.
Yes, but we provide Kelso with many other services as well. Automated assembly, accounting, shipping. You might say we run this entire operation.
Hey, Brian. Looks like I get to keep my union card. Here it is.
Well, you found it, huh?
I bet I looked at this B14 circuit a dozen times and didn't see it. I just don't get it.
Could I see that?
Sure. You see that bent connector there? It shorts the one on the other side.
Got a little mark on it. Looked like it could have been done with a tool or something.
Oh, pardon me.
Any idea how that could have happened?
I'm afraid our lab people have to make that determination.
Well, when they get all through with it, could I have that little gadget?
Mr. Jones, that's something you'll have to arrange with my superiors.
All right, I'll do that. Well, I'm much obliged to you gentlemen for your time.
Chuck? Chuck?
Brian!
Chuck,
You are my man! Hey, I heard how they discovered that flaw in the terminal. You handled it beautifully.
And you also heard about Jones, the private detective your girlfriend hired?
Oh, sure. Listen, don't worry about that. I can handle Emily. She put me next to old man Kelso now, didn't she?
Yeah. And if Jones finds out you killed him?
Hey, I already told you, I didn't kill anybody. I set a machine in motion. I cannot be responsible for it if it went out of control.
Chuck, you said this was just going to be a ripoff. I did not plan on becoming involved in a murder.
Baby, it couldn't be helped. Kelso was going to nail us. I had to put a stop to it, right?
I guess so.
Hey, come on, baby. We both vowed by the time we're 40, we're going to be rich, right? Now, you have a few years leeway on me, but you don't want to see old Chucky boy in his dotage before I have a chance to put my feet up on the veranda in Mallorca. Now, do you?
Mallorca? I thought we were buying a hotel in Tahiti.
What, you don't like Mallorca?
No, but what happened to Tahiti?
What, do you want to make something out of it? Come on, put him up. Come on, I'll punch you out, man.
I thought we were going to Tahiti.
Hey, look back.
All right, okay, it's Mallorca.
It's Mallorca,
Yes,
right?
it is.
Okay. Hey, you know something? I've always had good luck with guys with glasses. Boom, huh? Hey, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna let you pick out all the broads. You know why? They go for your style, all innocence on the outside, but inside, boom.
Hello. You fellas are a little lax with security, aren't you?
Now, why should two legitimate businessmen like us worry about security? How are you, Mr. Griffith?
Well, I'm fine. If you boys got the merchandise.
Have we got the merchandise? Come on.
Impressed. Very impressed. I think my overseas customers are going to be very, very pleased.
Yeah, that's fine. Is this our money?
Well, if I can be sure there's no way to trace this stuff.
Brian, tell him.
Well, even if it were, there wouldn't make any difference. You see, every item here is covered by a paid invoice at Kelso Manufacturing.
How did you manage that?
Genius. Pure genius. My friend here can make a computer do tricks that only Einstein can appreciate.
It's not that difficult, really. Once I was able to break the Kelso programming code, it was a very simple matter. See, Chuck feeds in the orders from Ventnor, and the computer orders up programming automatically. Even handles deliveries.
Yeah, with the help of a little gadget that my modest friend here built.
But the most important thing is that the computer is signaled to recognize our bills as paid and print out accordingly. So within Kelso's automated accounting, the Ventnor account appears as any normal business transaction.
You're too modest. That is genius.
Hey, this is only $100,000. Now, I know this stuff is worth at least $300,000.
And when our trucks roll in here tomorrow, we will be picking up the other $200,000 in risk.
We had made plans.
I know you made plans. Now, listen, I like you boys. You're bright, you're clean, you haven't got any records. And you got a whole new angle here. Now, do you want to make some real money? I'm talking about $500,000.
Sure.
Then you bring me electrical components. All kinds, any kind, I don't care. That market is wide open.
We'll do it. You can depend on us.
Chuck, I don't know.
Doesn't your computer handle Burleson Electronics?
Yes, but it's an entirely different programming code.
Brian, I know you can break that code. We'll open up a new warehouse, a new company. It'll run as smooth as silk. Yeah, you got yourself a deal.
Good.
What you see here is only the tip of the iceberg. Actually, Charlie occupies another 8 floors.
Charlie?
C for Clarion, C for Charlie.
Very impressive. Have you figured out yet how Charlie activated the crane out at Kelso Manufacturing?
Well, our lab people are still looking at that terminal connector, but while it's possible that it was the culprit, I'd bet against it.
Dr. Lincoln, is there any other way it could have been done?
Well, it's a baffler. It would require access to the computer. That means that somebody would have to have the specific binary code for the Kelso program.
Now, hold on, I can't make heads or tails out of that.
Well, that's exactly what it is. Heads or tails in an infinite series of sequences. Here, let me show you. You see, each company has its own individual coded information, which is stored in hundreds of tapes and packs and distributed throughout the unit.
I would send a Greyhound running for cover.
That's Charlie speaking.
Oh, I guess I didn't get his message.
Well, he's saying, who are you? Now, you answer by entering your secret number. That number is your password. If you have the right number, he says, oh, yes, I recognize you. What can I do for you? But if you don't, he won't talk to you.
I see. In order to get anywhere, you have to talk his language.
Exactly. And each program has an entirely different language. So you see what the odds are against anyone jumping the system.
Oh, Mr. Elder, we're just on the way over to your office.
I didn't expect to see you here.
Mr. Jones feels that Charlie's untrustworthy.
Oh, no, I just feel that possibly he swapped stories with the wrong crowd.
Well, you explained to Mr. Jones that all our programs are designed by independent programmers?
Oh, yes.
You see, the codes are secure even from our people here. They can't be broken.
That's what the doctor said. But a few years ago, people were saying the same thing about the DNA molecule. Now chemists read it like a book.
Well, Brian's right. The chances are less than 1 in a million.
You see, you have to remember something, Mr. Jones. Charlie does not make mistakes.
He made a big one at Kelso. There was a man killed. Dr. Lincoln says anybody could have done it if he were able to talk to Charlie.
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave the science fiction to you gentlemen. I'm late for a meeting, excuse me.
Seems like a bright young man.
He's the best math mind that ever graduated from Grover Institute.
You suppose he could decipher one of those programs if he had to?
Maybe with time. I know if we had to do it, he's the man I'd put on it.
Have you any idea what he was doing the night Kelso died?
Is that a detective's question?
It's my line of business.
Well, Mr. Jones, I'm happy to tell you that Ryan was having dinner that evening with me and my wife. He's a fine young man.
I'm sure he is.
Hi, honey. How you doing?
I just got your call. Why didn't you tell me you were leaving?
Oh, I'm sorry, honey, but I've been talking to the Burleson people for a long time now. When the opportunity came up, I grabbed it. It's a big step forward.
But you didn't have to leave. I would have spoken to someone here.
Hey, that's not my style. When I come to you, I want to be on my own 2 feet.
What would this mean to us?
Honey, I'm changing jobs, not my life. You know what I mean?
I'm sorry, darling. Bye.
Summers.
It's Brian, Chuck. That private investigator Jones has been nosing around Clarion all morning. I think he's onto something.
Hold on a second. Now, listen, he can't cause us any trouble. Everything is clean.
What about the warehouse? If you should trace those deliveries to the warehouse, he could get us.
Not a chance. The warehouse is empty. Now, if it'll make you feel any better, I'll go down and double-check myself after work.
Yes, I'd feel a lot better.
Now, just relax. I want you to concentrate on breaking the Burleson Code. Everything there is go. Go, go, go. All the way to Mallorca, right? Okay, later.
Your hunch was right. There were discrepancies between Kelso's deposits and their paid accounts.
That's what I thought. That's the only way they could have been losing money. How many companies involved?
Only one, Ventnor Machinery, but they made purchases of over $300,000. What I don't understand is how the computer indicated that their bills were paid.
Was there an address on those deliveries?
I'm sorry, I didn't have enough time to find out. Shipping should have it.
I better check into that.
I thought you were going to buy me lunch.
Take it out of petty cash.
Alone again.
Anybody home? All right, whoever's up there, come out where I can see you.
Chucky, now you promised me champagne. Now you know your Vera girl can't drink anything but champagne.
Now, Vera girl, it's on its way. You keep it in gear and it'll be here. Oh, here we are. I'll be right with you.
Okay.
Hang on.
So funny.
Come in, come in. I've been worried about you. Listen, did you break the Burleson code?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Okay, fine. We're right on schedule. I've opened up the new warehouse. You know where we are now? Stonehurst Industries.
All right.
Yeah, now wait till you meet the girls. You're gonna love them.
Hi. Hello.
All right. Now, I want you to meet a very good friend of mine, Vera Alice. I want you to meet the genius, Brian.
How are you? Oh, gee, cute.
Didn't I tell you? Now, you take real good care of my man here, huh? Vera and I are gonna go get some ice, and I'm gonna fix you up a little drink.
You've got plenty of ice.
Well, honey, we defrost the icebox, huh?
Well, but you know...
I don't want to hear about
no,
it.
Put me down, silly. Put me down, silly. Put me down.
Excuse me.
Well, that Chucky's sure card, ain't he?
Yes, he's very good with people.
You're kind of shy, ain't you?
No. Well, yes, I guess I am a little bit.
You don't need to be. I mean, not around me. Ooh. I mean, there's nothing I like better than a good party. You know what I mean?
Yes, that's very nice.
You bet it is. Listen, you want to dance?
No, I don't think so, thank you.
I bet you don't know how to dance, do you? I'll teach you how to dance. I'll bet Prude Alice can teach you how to do a lot of things. Come on, dance with me. Come on.
No, thank you.
Come on, have a dance.
No.
Come on, it's fun.
Please.
Come on, dance
Please.
with me. Come on and
Please.
dance. I love to dance.
Please, I don't want to.
Well, what's the matter with you anyways? You think you're special or something?
Look, I'm sorry, okay? I'm very sorry.
Well, now, how you kids getting along, huh?
I'll bet you're having fun. Your friend here's playing awfully hard to get. Where'd you find him anyway? Under a rock?
Chuck, I need to talk to you.
Honey, our friend here's been under a tremendous strain. Alice, come on, baby. Take us out by the pool. I'll be right out. Everything will be cool. Get my drink, okay? Everything's cool. Come on, have a drink. Hey, what is it with you? Alice is a very sharp chick.
I can't talk to her. I don't know. I don't know. She's just... I thought we were risking our necks for something different, that's all.
What do you want, Madam Curry in the middle of what we got going?
If I could just talk to her, it'd be different.
Oh, champagne's here.
Darling. Hi. You didn't call. I thought we were going to go out and celebrate the new job, you know, and go to dinner. But I see you've already got other company.
Well, I can explain all this.
Well, I don't think an explanation's necessary. Very foolish, that's all. I'm sorry if I've interrupted anything.
Yeah, but Emily. Oh, well, it's better this way anyway. It just clears the air. She was no use to us anyway, right? Hey, boom.
I think I'd better go.
Oh, Brian, what? The party's just getting started.
Not tonight.
What about the code? Huh? I'll call you tomorrow.
Sure. Tomorrow.
Ventnor Machinery? Yeah, I remember those two.
There were two?
Yeah, the one fellow, tall, husky, good-looking. Simpson, I think he said his name was, did all the talking. Said they wanted this warehouse.
Do you recall the other one's name?
No. Didn't mention it. Sure wasn't the type you'd expect in that business, though.
How so, Mr. Greening?
You know, he seemed like he belonged more in his mother's apron string. Couldn't have been more than 30. Little guy. I remember he had a funny way of filling with his glasses every now and then.
Exactly what way was that?
You know, some people are constantly pushing them back in their nose like they're going to fall off. Well, he had a funny way, like salute. You know what I mean?
Yes. I'm afraid I know exactly what you mean.
Well, look at this. I'm getting luckier than a 5-footed rabbit. I was just on my way up to see you.
Well, I only have 20 minutes left for lunch, Mr. Jones. Perhaps later.
Well, I eat very fast. What if I just tag along? I'll even buy.
I'm sorry. I have some thinking to do.
Yes, I'll just bet you have. Maybe it'd be to your advantage if we had a talk first. Unless you actually killed Beck Kelso.
I don't know what you're talking about. I spent that evening with Dr. Lincoln.
I know. Mr. Greening at the real estate office said you had a partner, a man named Simpson. Want to tell me his real name?
Simpson? I don't know any Simpson or Greening.
Mr. Greening is the man who rented you the warehouse. He described you to a T. All he has to do is verify that identification, and police will be here to pick you up. Even a young possum knows enough to tell when it's been treed. He even mentioned that.
What?
That way you have of fiddling with your glasses when you're nervous.
Well, I doubt if I'm the only person with that particular idiosyncrasy, Mr. Jones.
You probably aren't. But you're the only one capable of arranging that theft at the Kelso place. And with that goes a charge of murder. And I don't think that was your idea.
If you have something, Mr. Jones, evidence, I suggest you take it to the police.
Your friend tell you he tried to kill me yesterday? I thought not.
I want his name, Brian.
I told you I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I got part of it. I'll get the rest. Shame a talented young fella like you spend the rest of his life behind bars. Think about that while you're enjoying your lunch.
Sit down, I'll make you a drink.
Why didn't you tell me you tried to kill Barnaby Jones?
Who told you that?
He did. He's got us, Chuck. He knows about everything. He talked to that man who rented us the warehouse, Mr. Greening.
Did he mention me?
No, not by name.
I should have killed him when I had the chance to.
That's really the way you think, isn't it? Another murder means nothing. I should have known this is where we were headed when you killed Kelso.
Brian, you and I are in this together.
Not me. Not me. I'm getting out tonight.
Hey, you can't quit now. The first big delivery went out to the new warehouse today. Brian, Jones doesn't know anything about the Burleson operation. All you gotta do is lay low for a couple of days, and everything we work for will come true.
Like Mallorca?
Hey, Mallorca, why not?
Because it's a lie. Like everything else you put out. You use people, Chuck. You don't care. Like that girl last night, Emily. You just don't care.
Wait a minute, little buddy. Don't you be saying something that you're going to be sorry for.
I'm not going to be sorry for anything because I have made up my mind. It's like you said, it's we. We are going to go to the police together.
Brian, use your head.
If you don't go with me, I will do it by myself. I mean it.
Hey. Now, I'm not going to blow the biggest chance of my life for some sniveling little four-eyed punk that's lost his nerve.
We'll see who loses his nerve when I tell the police everything I know. Let go, Chuck. Hey, listen.
I said let go of you! Now will you leave me alone?
You discovered who betrayed my father?
2 men were using the new computer system to rob your father blind. I got a line on one of them, but unfortunately, he died last night.
Well, sit down.
Do you recall ever seeing this man? Do you know him?
I've seen him
Where?
with Chuck.
Chuck?
Chuck Summers. He used to work for my father. But he couldn't have had anything to do with Mac's death. They were the best of friends. Besides, he was with me that night.
It was the night of the birthday supper.
Yes.
Did he leave you at any time during that evening?
No. Oh, wait, yes, he did. He went to the car to get my gift. But that couldn't have taken more than 5 minutes.
Where can I find Chuck Summers?
Well, we've broken up, and he no longer works for the company. He's at Burleson Electronics now.
You have a picture of him?
Yes, I do.
I'll get this back to you.
From the look on your face, I have a feeling I may not want it back.
Yeah, I remember this dude.
Think back. Did you see him last Tuesday about 8 o'clock?
Yeah, he took a briefcase out of his car and went to that phone booth over there.
You sure? He was supposed to be picking up a birthday present.
Right on. When he finished his call, he took the case back to the car and copped a small package. Then he took it inside. Didn't any help to you?
I'd say you're right on.
Anytime, my man, anytime.
What in the world is that?
Betty, you may just be looking at the most complicated trigger ever used to kill a man.
What?
Dial that number.
What is it?
This is a portable computer terminal. With a gadget like this, Chuck Summers could have killed Kelso without leaving the restaurant parking lot.
How?
He could have activated that crane from any phone booth like this.
Then it wasn't a short found in the computer terminal.
I don't think so. I think that Brian did that little piece of hanky-panky after the fact.
And Summers has the perfect alibi.
Not if I can tie him to the Kelso theft. I think they're pulling the same stunt over at Burleson Electronics. All I have to do is prove it.
With a little help from your friend Charlie?
Yes. Call Dr. Lincoln at that number. Tell him I need a search of all Burleson sales over the last few days. Tell him I'll be right over.
It shouldn't take long now. We've programmed selectively to take accounts according to size and delivery techniques. We've encoded our invoice payments directly from the deposit account records. Should have your baby any second.
How close will you be able to come?
Closer than I did with Brian. I'm afraid I feel partly responsible.
It's only human. Charlie's the only one around here who makes judgments without emotion.
Thank you. Well, I see it, but I still don't believe it. Stonehurst Industries. Over $400,000 in sales mark paid, not a penny in the corresponding deposit account.
That's terrific. Really terrific. I'm very proud of you, Chuck. Now, this is the way to do business. I must say, this time you boys really outdid yourselves.
Hey, let's cut the talk. Now, if you're satisfied, I'll take the bread.
Sure. Remember, there's a lot more where that came from.
Mr. Griffith, I'm sorry, but this will be the last shipment.
What are you talking about?
That's right.
Now, listen, I told you I like you boys. Why, this is chicken feed compared to what it can be.
Summers? Why don't you tell him you killed a chicken that lays the golden egg?
Now, who's he?
He's a private detective. We'll have to get rid of him.
That's not beyond my experience.
You two don't think I'm stupid enough to have come in here by myself, do you?
Get out, Chuck! Get out!
Hold it, you!
Where's Joe? He's inside.
Put it down, son. I rarely miss at this distance.
I thought I told you to take it easy.
I think you'll find the contents of these boxes interesting. Mr. Summers will fill you in on what you need to know, and if he won't, call me. I got a friend named Charlie.
Charlie? What are you talking about?
Barnaby Jones, starring Buddy Ebsen, also starring Lee Merriweather, with guest stars Meredith Baxter, Christopher Connolly, Mark Miller, Richard Evans, Richard O'Brien. Special guest star Ida Lupino. Tonight's episode, The Deadly Jinx.
Jenny, let me help you with that.
Terrific.
Thanks, Lester.
Sure.
I'm taking her out for a run!
Thank you for coming, Mr. Jones.
Well, I'll tell you, Ms. Revere, if time were looking for a place to stand still, this is the place.
Would you care for some tea?
No, thank you. I haven't been in this room for 10 years, and I would say that not one thing has been moved.
Well, I didn't think it was within my province to change anything.
Jenny must have been 14. You took on quite a job when you stayed on to raise her when her mother and father died.
Well, the Sutherlands were very wealthy, Mr. Jones. They left me well provided for. Even if I have to say so myself, I was the only real mother Jenny ever had. With her parents running all over the world.
Well, I didn't know him that well. I just worked on that one case for Mr. Sutherland.
Well, they were very cold people, Mr. Jones. Showing love for Jenny just wasn't in their nature. And they were so strict with her.
Still, kids are like puppy dogs. They seem to love you regardless.
I suppose so. But it seems that everything that child ever cared for was taken away from her. First her parents, that terrible avalanche in the Alps.
And now this young man who was killed in the boating accident. Was Jenny in love with him?
Yes, Greg Larkin. He was a nice boy, what I saw of him.
What bothers you about the accident, Miss Revere?
Because it's happened again and again.
What has happened?
Well, it seems that any man who becomes interested in Jenny meets with some sort of accident.
How many have there been?
5 years ago, Doug Wingate, the local football hero, thrown from a horse, crippled for life.
Was he in love with Jenny?
Oh, yes. And then 3 years ago, she was dating a boy, John Ferris, who accidentally drove his car off a cliff going home from here. Now, poor Greg Larkin.
Reading between the lines of that worried look of yours, it seems to me that you think that these accidents were not all that accidental.
Mr. Jones, I'm sick with worry. I don't know what to think. I mean, what if someone...
What if someone wanted Jenny for himself so badly, he eliminated the competition?
Yes. You see, I've got to be sure. If some mad fool is about, who knows where he'll stop?
I'm only concerned about you, Jenny, that's all.
Stan, you've been concerned about me ever since you almost had to flunk me in History 1. And then I had to call you Mr. Porter.
I would hope, now that we are colleagues, that you would consider my feelings about you more genuine.
I do, Stan.
Well, then listen to me, for your own good. Go away for a few weeks. Take a sabbatical.
No, I can't. Working's the only thing that's holding me together right now.
Excuse me. Taking your hair out of pigtails doesn't fool me a bit, young lady. You are Jenny Sutherland.
No, wait a minute. Don't tell me. You're,
Time's up. Barnaby Jones.
Oh, of course. Your wavy gray hair. I remember I always wished my father had wavy gray hair.
I'll tell you, when all that a pretty young girl can remember about you is that you got wavy gray hair, you better hang up the gloves.
Mr. Jones, Stan Porter.
How do you do?
Are you a teacher, Mr. Jones?
No, I'm more of a learner.
Mr. Jones is a private investigator.
Oh. I'll call you later tonight, Jenny, just to see how you are.
Stan.
Mr. Jones.
What brings you to Santa Carla? Business or pleasure?
Business, but it'll be a pleasure if it turns out to be a false alarm. Mrs. Revere sent for me.
Cassie? Oh, she shouldn't have done that. I mean, she
She's
didn't...
worried about you, Jenny.
Great. The harder I try to blend into the scenery, the more I become a tourist attraction.
Yeah, I suppose it is hard for the prettiest and richest girl in a town this size to be just one of the trees. Mrs. Revere probably figured that I could find out something about the most recent accident that happened to one of your young friends.
Yeah, well, I know what she thinks. She thinks some big ogre's following me around trying to cast a deadly spell on whoever shows an interest in me.
Ogres are my business. All sizes.
Hey, you, that's my car!
Well, he's too young to shave, old enough to spell. Maybe before I make any more big deductions like that, you and I ought to find a quiet place and have a little talk.
Milk for the young man, and your usual, right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's the usual? Maybe I should have had that.
Only if you promise not to laugh.
No secrets. That's our deal.
A scoop of vanilla ice cream drowned in hot chocolate.
Nothing very usual about that. Jenny, on the way over here, you said that you never saw Doug Wingate again after the horseback riding accident.
No, only in a nightmare now and then. I remember climbing down the mountain to where he'd fallen. I thought he was dead. And his eyes opened. It was scary. I don't think I've ever gotten that completely out of my mind.
Ms. Revere said that the second young man, what was his name?
John Ferris. He was a senior up at State. I was in my junior year up at Pacific Western.
You went away for a while to a clinic
for arresting her.
Yeah, that was Cassie's idea. All I could do was cry all the time. I didn't make any sound at all. I needed the rest. At least now I've got something to keep myself occupied.
You like teaching?
Yeah, very much. I don't think I can tell you very much about Greg's accident in the boat. It's still very vivid to me. It's sort of unbelievable.
This doesn't seem to be exactly the place to blend into the scenery. Wanna go?
You say you haven't seen Doug Wingate since the accident. Didn't he ever write to you and tell you how he was getting along?
No, I wrote to him in Boston once, though, at the hospital. He never answered. I heard that he could never walk again.
Well, you go ahead. You must have a lot of papers to correct, teacher. I'll try to correct a lot of mistaken impressions around here.
Thank you.
Right about there. Top speed and bluey.
Any idea how this may have happened, Sheriff?
Just sort of an educated speculation. Apparently something went wrong with the carburetor. Ran all right at normal speed, but when young Larkin opened it up, a jet stuck. Overflowed gas, caught fire on the hot engine. That boat became one fast-moving Molotov cocktail.
Good theory. Where'd you get it?
Lester Watkins. He runs a garage down the road toward town. Greg Larkin always worked on his boat down there, mainly because Lester has all the tools and he did all the work.
There's a sample of his work. I'd get my plugs changed elsewhere.
Lester knows what he's doing all right. He said he told Greg Larkin to get that carburetor replaced. You're welcome to take a look at the reports, Mr. Jones. Because I don't know exactly what you're looking for.
You know anything about jinxes, Sheriff?
I heard that talk too. Paying attention to it.
And you think all of these accidents that have been happening around Jenny Sutherland are just coincidence in your book?
Well, not one scrap of evidence says any different.
And Doug Wingate's horseback riding accident? That wasn't a police matter?
Who am I going to question? The horse?
What about the young man that drove his car over the cliff?
Look, Mr. Jones, I don't want to talk ill about the dead, but when young Mr. Clean-Cut John Ferris drove his car off a deep canyon road, well, we found a broken quart liquor bottle in the wreckage.
Ms. Revere said John Ferris didn't drink much.
He shouldn't have bought it by the quart. Look, I feel bad about Jenny Sutherland, too. I've known her since she could hardly reach the pedals of her bike. Well, when you got looks and money, people are going to talk about you, no matter what.
You don't suppose Jenny's good looks and fat bank account might have been a fatal attraction for somebody over the years?
You got any big city ideas? We got us a killer stalking the streets of little old Santa Carla, Mr. Jones. I'm afraid you're going to be disappointed. Granted, our Jenny's going to be a very rich lady someday.
What do you mean by someday?
Well, you'll have to talk to their family lawyer about that.
See, that used to be Cal Medford.
Still is.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Sheriff. I appreciate it.
Okay, Jenny, cut it.
Better let me give it a once-over. Smooth it out.
I want to check your brakes, too. You got a squeal there.
I didn't hear anything, Lester.
That's because you got pretty ears. You don't hear what I hear.
Well, maybe I'll bring it in later in the week. I really want to go home now.
Well, I'll drive you. You'll give me a chance to road test it. I'll bring it back to you tonight.
Okay, if you really think it needs it.
Well, Buck, I'm gonna drive her home and bring the car back.
Okay, Lester, but I gotta be out of here by 5.
I won't be going long.
It's really nice of you, Lester, going to all this trouble.
I'd do anything for you, Jenny. Besides, we don't want to have happen to your car what happened to Greg Larkin's boat, do we?
Hi, can I help you?
Yeah, fill it up with soup.
Right. Hey, you got any soft drinks? Yeah, there's a machine inside there. Can I help you with that?
No, I can manage.
There she is. 10 miles. Oh, that is great for the circulation and the breath.
Yeah, but it seems to me you don't get to see much of the scenery on one of those things.
This is all the scenery I'm interested in, Mr. Jones. I've come from a 37 to a 34.
Yeah, what the years and good food giveth, the bicycle taketh away.
Age is a state of mind, Mr. Jones.
Yeah. Well, this is the state of California, and I guess I just naturally assumed that Jenny would get her full inheritance at the age of 21.
No, 30. Those were the terms of her parents' will. Of course, Jenny wants for nothing right now, but in 6 years, as you put it, she'll be a very wealthy woman.
Yeah, a very pretty one. How much would you say that her fortune would amount to in right round numbers?
Her real wealth in property and securities today is appraised at $3.2 million.
Ms. Revere seems to feel that that amount of money wrapped up around a pretty package like Jenny might have a fatal attraction for someone.
Cassie Revere is an old fool. She still treats Jenny like she's a teenager. Actually, Jenny is a very mature woman. She's certainly too mature for those young Galahads who are always hanging around her. No experience, no judgment.
And sort of reckless, too.
What do you mean?
Well, it hasn't been exactly healthy the last few years for any young fella who is fond of Jenny.
Oh, nonsense. Just some overage show-offs who are the victims of their own damn foolishness, that's all.
I take it you don't believe in jinxes either.
Absolutely not. And Cassie Revere is just making everything worse. I've got to tell you, Mr. Jones, I don't approve of this raking over of old coals just to appease the devious suspicions of this old maid.
I suppose what Jenny needs is a mature kind of man that she can lean on. Someone with experience and judgment that she can depend on the rest of her life.
Exactly.
You wouldn't be sort of staying in shape for that job, would you, Mr. Mitford?
I am not at all ashamed of my affection for Jenny, Mr. Jones. And it's not at all uncommon for a young woman of her circumstances to find exactly what she needs in an older man.
Hello. I was just in the neighborhood. Thought I'd return these books and see if Jenny would like to go out for dinner.
Well, I'll take them, Mr. Porter. Our dinner's already in the oven, thank you.
Perhaps she'd like to take a walk later. I mean, I just think it would be therapeutic for Jenny to be with friends at a time like this.
Well, at a time like this, Mr. Porter, I think I'm quite capable of providing any after-school friendship Jenny may need. Thank you for returning the books. I'll tell her you were here.
Who was that, Cassie?
Oh, Mr. Porter from the school.
Well, why didn't you invite him in?
Oh, I can never tell what he's thinking behind those thick lenses of his.
Now, Cassie, you should have invited him in.
Listen, Jenny, dear, you mustn't encourage someone like that. Not even in the slightest.
Encourage?
Yes, he's just not right for you. He's just a school teacher.
Well, so am I.
But you're also a very wealthy girl, remember that. And you should be very cautious about people who pretend affection for you. Darling, you look tired. Try and get some rest while I get dinner, hmm?
Just a minute, I'll be right out. Hear anybody drive up? There. That ought to do it. I'll be out in...
You say Lester was dead when you got here. What time was that, Mr. Jones?
About a half hour ago.
And no one else in the vicinity at all?
Not a soul.
What time did you leave, Buck?
5 on the dot. Lester was still working on Jenny's car when I left.
I don't need 3 guesses, but to tell me what you're thinking of, Mr. Jones.
I think we can scratch coincidence as an explanation of what's been going on here, Sheriff. Bananas and grapes come in bunches, but not coincidences.
Buck, did you ever have any trouble with this Jack?
No, never. No problem.
4 young men who all kind of like Jenny Sutherland. Now they're all either dead or missing.
Lester? He may have worked on her car, but no way. Lester blushed at hardware store calendars.
Come here a minute. I don't know how Lester felt about hardware store calendars, but I got a hunch how he felt about Jenny.
Well, I'll be.
Sheriff, somebody's trying to raise you on your car radio.
Buck, do you have any equipment in here that would make a track like that?
No, I'll tell you, that could be a bike, though. You know, the kids bring them in sometimes.
I don't think so. It's too regular, and it kind of goes along in pairs.
Hey, that must be the guy. Sure, the guy in the wheelchair.
Somebody come in here in a wheelchair?
Came in this afternoon. He asked for gas. He wanted to know, where the cold drinks were, so he come inside. I tell you, that guy moved that thing in and out of the car like it was nothing.
Did you ever know Doug Wingate?
Wingate? No, but I only lived around here about a year now.
Mind if I use your phone?
Sure, go ahead. There's one over there on the bench. Right.
Hello, operator. I want to make a collect call to Los Angeles.
Barnaby Jones' office, may I help you?
I have a collect call from Mr. Barnaby Jones in Santa Carla. Will you accept charges?
Yes, operator, I'd be more than happy to accept the charges.
Hello, Betty. I want you to do some long-distance checking for me.
Sure enough. Just name the direction.
East. You start with the Boston Memorial Hospital. About 5 years ago, they treated a Douglas Wingate for injuries received in a horseback riding accident.
Righto.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely impossible. Douglas Wingate hasn't been seen or heard from in years.
I'd like to talk to Jenny.
Well, I'd rather you didn't, Mr. Jones, not tonight.
Lester Watkins is dead. I'd rather Jenny found out about it from a friend.
I'm afraid it's too late for that. The kind friend has already called from the village. Couldn't wait to offer a few comforting words to Jenny.
How did she take it?
She's beside herself, poor darling. Had to call the doctor to give her some sedative pills to quiet her down. She's sleeping now.
Mrs. Revere, are you absolutely certain that you didn't hear someone in town mention that they might have seen Doug Wingate?
I wouldn't be likely to forget. Why?
Because I have a very strong feeling that Mr. Douglas Wingate may not be too far away from here right now. I think that it'd be a good idea to let Jenny rest for a few days.
I've already called the school.
Just let her sleep till the pills wear off. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Jones.
Betty, I've been trying to call you since breakfast.
Well, I guess I was trying to reach you during breakfast. It was just an hour's drive, and I figured I'd better get the information to you before you went gallivanting off someplace.
You got the right number from back east?
I traced Douglas Wingate through 4 states. It seems that he had a series of operations at that Boston hospital.
None of which turned out to be successful, I understand.
Right. He was released to a rehabilitation center just outside of Boston. Now, their records show that he entered college in Pennsylvania. I thought that was a dead end until I reached the alumni director, who was working late. Douglas Wingate's class bulletin was mailed to upstate New York up until 3 years ago.
That's only 3 states. You just love doing this to me, don't you?
For the past 3 years, Doug Wingate has been getting his mail at 5 Oaks, not 20 miles from right here.
Congratulations, Mrs. Jones. You have just won yourself a trip to 5 Oaks, California. Get in. Nice throwing. Doug Wingate, isn't it?
That's right.
If you are Doug Wingate, You mind telling me why you've been keeping it a secret that you've been back in these parts all this time?
You have any business asking?
I'm Barnaby Jones. This is my daughter-in-law, Betty Jones. I'm a private investigator working for, you might say, Jenny Sutherland. Betty's been up all night tracking you back and forth across the country.
What for?
Before I answer that, you mind telling me where you were about 6:30 last night?
What is this? You don't have any right coming here asking me questions like that.
I'll take it easy, Doug. We're only here because that wheelchair of yours made some pretty clear tracks all over the scene of a murder.
Murder?
Lester Watkins, you were there earlier. Buck Fowler will identify you.
Maybe I was. But I was back here about 5.
Did anyone see you?
Yeah, a dozen people. I didn't close up here until 8 o'clock last night. What's this got to do with Jenny?
I'll trade you an apology for an explanation. Why are you hiding here in 5 Oaks?
Who says I'm hiding?
I just got a feeling. Is it so you can drive over to Santa Carla every once in a while and take a look at Jenny?
Yeah. So I can get a look at her. That's all.
Don't you think she'd like to see you too, Doug?
No. Jenny used to look up to me. I don't think I could stand it to sit here and have her look down at me. It's enough that I still love her, but I don't want to spoil it.
You're the only one I know who's fallen in love with Jenny and lived to talk about it.
I know what people are saying, but she's not a jinx. She just had a lot of bad luck.
Yeah, like that time you fell off the horse. How'd that happen?
It was easy for anything but a nag. Jenny's horse took the jump like a rabbit. Mine balked and threw me.
How'd you happen to pick a spooky horse like that?
I didn't.
Who did?
Jenny. But she didn't know what she was doing. She feels bad enough. It wasn't her fault. She was just a kid.
Thank you. I want you to talk to Mrs. Revere.
About what?
There's a doctor that treated Jenny for a while after John Ferris drove his car off that cliff. Get the doctor's name. I want to know the nature and length of her treatment and a diagnosis.
Mrs. Jones, I'm very sorry, but I cannot help you.
Well, are you sure? Barnaby thought that it might be useful if we could talk to the doctor who treated Jenny.
I don't see why. I mean, what does it matter? And the clinic isn't there anymore. They tore it down for a new housing project.
Well, did you ever speak to the doctor while Jenny was a patient there?
Yes, but he didn't think it was anything serious. You see, Jenny's a very high-strung, emotional girl, and she's had some dreadful nightmares. It's been a very bad time for her.
Well, try to remember, please, if you can.
Well, he said something about Jenny daydreaming too much, trying to escape reality, and having personality problems. Well, heavens, after what she went through, who wouldn't?
Was the term split personality ever used?
Yes, I believe it was.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Revere.
You're welcome. Bye. Bye.
Sorry, did I startle you?
No.
Jenny Sutherland.
I'm Betty Jones, Mr. Jones's daughter-in-law, secretary.
How nice. soon.
Yes, I hope so.
Jenny?
Surprise. I think you're mean.
Why?
Being here all this time? And never even a call?
How'd you find me?
I heard someone say that you were living close by. So your old friend Jimmy Winter is in San Francisco, and I thought that if anybody knew where you were, that he would.
I didn't want you to know.
I was afraid you might still be mad at me.
I could never be mad at you. I love you, Jenny. I don't have a right to say that anymore.
Yeah, you know, as I was saying, Lester would stand on his head just to be around Jenny, but I think the closest he ever got to her was when he worked on her car.
Buck, do you recall exactly what happened the day before Greg Larkin was killed in his boat?
Yeah, like I said, Greg trailered it in here for Lester to work on.
Was Jenny with him?
Mm-hmm. They were driving over for Jenny to meet Greg's aunt. I'd say it was getting to be meet the family time for those two.
And they left the boat here that night to be fixed.
Mm-hmm. I tell you, though, Lester wasn't any too hot on the idea. He was busy. He told him all Greg had to do was adjust that spring on that valve. The kid could do it. But, I don't know, Greg said he'd rather Lester did it. I think he was afraid if he did it wrong, it might cause an explosion.
What time did Lester go home that night?
I don't know. It was sometime after supper, though.
What makes you think it was after supper?
Well, when I emptied the trash around here the next day, I found paper plates, milk cartons, you know.
Is that plates, plural?
Yeah. Lester must have had company. There was two of everything. There was plates, slaw dishes, drink cartons.
Where would Lester get a takeout meal like that?
A diner up the road here.
There you go, mister. You gotta be kidding. Over half our business is takeout, mister.
Let's concentrate on that half. 2 weeks ago, the night before Greg Larkin was killed out on the lake, Lester Watkins came in here and he ordered food to go.
Poor Lester.
Maybe you can do a favor for poor Lester. Try to remember he ordered 2 of everything.
Well, he didn't order 2 of everything. You know, I never took an order like that before.
What does like that mean?
Well, besides all the other food, he orders himself a malt, like he always does. And then he ordered, would you believe it, he ordered a cup of hot chocolate with vanilla ice cream.
You got a phone around here I can use?
Yeah, sure, outside.
Thanks.
Hello?
Hello, Betty. Did you reach that doctor?
No, but I think Mrs. Revere may have the answer for us. She said that the doctor told her Jenny was running away from reality, that she had personality problems.
I was afraid of that. Did the doctor call it split personality?
Yes. She remembered when I said it.
Thank you, Betty.
Hey, Mr. Jones! You were asking about Doug Wingate?
Yeah.
Just came over the radio. The police say somebody stabbed him in a store up in Five Oaks.
They say who did it?
They don't know. But can you imagine that, a guy in a wheelchair? Was he the same guy that came into the garage?
One and the same. You still alive?
Just barely, I guess. I only caught part of it, then I came looking for you.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Jenny? Jenny, it's Barnaby Jones. Jenny, are you home?
Barnaby. I thought you'd forgotten all about me.
How could I ever do that?
Ms. Revere home?
I guess she went out of the store.
That's all right. I really wanted to see you, Jenny.
Well, how nice. Can I get you something to drink?
No, thank you. Jenny, I think I may have stumbled onto the answer to all those unpleasant things that have been happening to you.
Stumbled? Well, that's hardly a descriptive word for expert detective work now, is it?
Accurate, though. You see, I stumbled onto this thought that Doug Wingate is back and living around here somewhere.
Doug?
Very nice young fellow.
Yes, he was. I told you, he fell off his horse. Yeah, I remember, I told you.
I talked to him. He said that you picked out that horse for him.
No? Well, I don't remember. It was such a long time ago.
Did you know that the horse shied?
Are you sure you wouldn't like a drink? Oh, no, that's right. You're milk, aren't you?
That's right. John Ferris wasn't much of a drinker either, was he?
One for the road. Go on, finish it. Or are you afraid?
How much whiskey did you have to get down John Ferris that night? Enough to get him drunk so that he had the accident on the way home?
Doug is living around here somewhere. I have the feeling. I've just got the feeling.
Would you like to talk about Greg Larkin's boat?
Have you seen it? It's a beauty, isn't it?
Maybe I should be saying all these things to the other Jenny Sutherland.
What other Jenny Sutherland?
The one who was never shown any love.
Her parents were very strict with that Jenny.
Well, it was evil, Mama said. Men were such beasts. Even my daddy. I had to keep myself pure. I couldn't let anyone touch me.
You were taught that love was evil?
What?
I think you heard me, Jenny. One side of you wanting love so very, very much, the love that was never given you. The other side afraid of being loved, afraid of being evil. That's the Jenny Sutherland that had to destroy anyone who loved you.
I didn't know any Jenny Sutherland like that.
You didn't go to Greg's aunt that day, did you? You went back to Lester's because there was one little spring that had to be fixed. And then Greg's boat would only have one last fast run.
I don't know.
Lester was delighted to see you again. He offered to get you some food.
I don't know. What are you going to have, Lester?
The waitress down at the diner remembered. A scoop of vanilla ice cream and hot chocolate. Lester didn't know what went on at the garage while he was at the diner. But he told you he loved you, didn't he? Only one person was ever afraid, really afraid, that you would be loved. And that one person was you.
Barnaby? Barnaby, I'm so glad you're here. Ah! You get through to the hospital, Betty?
Yes. Doug Wingate's going to be all right. But I wonder if she is.
They'll never be able to prove it, Mr. Jones. Any of it.
You only have to prove things against criminals. I can't believe that Jenny, who just waved goodbye to us, is a criminal. Maybe one day, with the proper treatment, she'll tell the doctors all about it.
I did the best I could for her all these years, Mr. Jones.
I know you did. But sometimes I wonder why there's so much room for love in little houses sometimes, and no room for it all in big houses.